Hello and welcome to Hackers Won't Pass session. My name is Sergey and I will be presenter for the next 45 minutes. So in this session we're going to cover Microsoft 365 Defender in action. And you may ask, wait a second, what does it mean, Defender in action? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you attack scenario and we're gonna find how Defender is going to react on that. So I will show you offensive demo and we will see how the security product may catch those type of attacks. Even if you don't have a Microsoft 365 Defender in your company, if you don't use that, you still can find some typical misconfigurations that your company may have and how to avoid them, so you'll be able to fix them. So let's get started, but before we start the content, let me say a few words about myself. Once again, my name is Sergey. I'm a pen tester. I also implement cloud and security services. I'm an instructor as well. Conference speaker, as you can see here, I'm speaking. I also had sessions on different conferences, Microsoft conferences, security conferences. Here you may see some of them. If you want to contact me or you want to just monitor which conference I'm going to speak next, you may find me on LinkedIn and contact me if you wish, or just see my announcements. I have many certifications, in security certifications, Microsoft certifications, but let me just start the content because I think your goal here is not to listen about my certificates, but you want to know more about this product or maybe how the environment may be compromised. So one more thing, I'm not a big fan of slides, so you will not see a lot of them here. Most of the time I'm gonna show you live demos. And that is going to be the primary slide. I will focus on this slide quite a lot. And from this slide I will jump to demo and back many times. So what I want you to know first, many people, even when they work in IT, they don't really understand what typical cyber attack is. So quite often they think like something from movies, like, Ocean's 11, when they compromise something in 5 minutes, when they need to hack into the system, it takes around a few minutes and that's it. In reality, it is not a case. No. So attackers, they need time to, to get access, to gather information about the company, to move on, to escalate, to evade detection, exfiltrate data. All of this takes time. So it is not immediate action. And so number of steps that attackers must take, we call that kill chain. What I want to do, I want to demonstrate a kill chain to you. And so let's start from the first step. First step is external recon, or shortly reconnaissance. It means that we're going to gather information about the company. We want to know as much as we can from outside without touching the company itself, so without internal access, so from outside. So here we will collect information about email addresses, domains, social networks, websites, and so on. That's the normal procedure, and it takes time. For the purpose of this demo, I'm not going to show you everything, of course. I'm going to show you only how we can collect information about email addresses. And so that's because on my next step number 2, I'm going to use phishing. So I need I need email addresses if I want to run phishing campaign. So let me jump to demo this time. And let me start to collect email addresses. How can I do it? Number of ways, and one of my favorite is tool called Hunter.io, the service called Hunter.io. Here you just need to specify the email domain, and it will show you all of the email addresses that it knows. Let me show you first company hex node. Look at this. So hex node, that's the company who organized this event. And there are 8 results available. So if I click here, I will see up to 8 people with their email addresses, first name, last name. So because we want to protect PI and we don't want to have any issues with that, I'm not going to click. So if you want to try it yourself, go ahead. I will use Cantozo company, which is company for demonstration purposes. And look at this. So Tim, Scott, Kevin. And if we expand this, we can find from which source this email address was gathered. Let's see here. Importing Excel CSV to SQL Server. It's just a sample, and someone here just put a bunch of addresses, fake address of course, like John Smith, Pete Brown, I guess it's also fake. And so those addresses are of course not real, but when you use the real company, you'll find the real addresses. So now we have some email addresses, and we can just jump to the next step, which is compromise the first machine. I will use phishing for these purposes. So let me jump to workstation when I'm going to give you a demo. So on this workstation, I have antivirus McAfee. Let me show you this. And everything is turned on. So real-time scan, firewall, everything is on. And if I open this real-time scan, there are no exclusions. So it's just the default installation of antivirus. Now, I'm gonna open Google Chrome browser. Now let me download, and I can see the email here. By the way, there's a bunch of text. And also let me download attachment. What is important about this text? I generate a lot of text because I want to bypass the text filter. Because if you just type something very too simple, which is too simple, like "Hey, here's your attachment," or "That's your invoice," it may be blocked because it's like looks suspicious. But when you put more text, this email have more chances to be delivered. All right, let me close that. And so before I go to download folder, let me open a Linux shell, Linux terminal, and let me establish listener. So that's going to be my command and control center. And now let me go back to my victim machine, go to download folder, open this save today. They say, if you want to have discount, please enable content. So my goal here, using this document, to convince user to enable content. There are a number of ways how to do that. That's one of those. It may be something like, hey, your document is encrypted because of the GDPR requirements. If you want to decrypt that, please enable content. Or you have compensation because of COVID, and please enable content to see your compensation. Many things, many ways to convince user. Let me click enable content. Now I have discount, which is nice. And let's take a look. Oh, look at this. I have a shell as an attacker. Let's see. Hostname. Windows 10. Let's go back to desktop. And let's say echo hello hexcon21, and let's send that to document called new.txt. All right, so yep, it's there. So it means I'm on this machine. Now what I can do here, let me go back to slides. I compromise the first machine. Before I move on, I should also establish persistence. So in case of user reboot the workstation or something like this, But let me skip this step because it takes time and our time is quite limited. So let me just move to the next one. And next one is internal recon. So now I can gather information about the company, but this time from inside. I'm a regular user, and now I want to know more from inside. Let's do that. Let's type something. By the way, internal recon, this step also takes a while because we want to gather a lot of information from workstation, from other workstations, from the main. But also for the sake of time, I'm going to just run a few commands. Let's say who am I groups. I can see my groups, and I also see I'm not an administrator, I'm just a regular user. All right, let's try something else. Let's say net user. I can see local users. Let's say net group domain. That gives me the groups in the domain. Let's say net group domain admins. Domain. I can see there are two users in the group, domain admins, trainer, and also a user with my name. So let's try something else. System info. All right, now I can see system information. So that's called internal recon. Internal reconnaissance. Of course, we may run many commands to gather information about network, about other workstations around, and so on. But now, what I want to do, I want to move to the next step, which is local privilege escalation. So what is that? Local privilege escalation. Let me move my head from here to here. And look at this. So in that, on the bottom right, you may find that my goal is to become domain administrator. So domain admin credentials, that's something that I really want to have. But if I want to become domain admin, it's quite hard to become domain admin right away. I must go through this circle first, and from local privilege escalation, I must become local admin at least, compromise credentials, and then try to find out domain admins, and eventually I can do it. So before I can become domain admin, I must become a local admin. Let's try that. So let's escalate our privileges. For this purpose, I'm gonna open article Windows elevation of privileges, and there's a number of ways to how can I try to escalate. There is one which is I should try first, called clear text passwords. If I click here, it says you may try to find passwords in files, in a registry, and there's a number of ways I can try. That's a good idea, to be fair, and that's the most effective in the real world, because users are lazy. Even support engineers, administrators become late sometimes, but users often, and we may find different passwords in files. Let's try that. But one more thing, I will switch from shell to CMD, because output from those files, from those commands are pretty heavy, and shell will become too slow to work from shell. So let me just do it like this. I'm gonna run multiple commands. Let's try this one. I'll copy it from here. So let's copy from here. All right, and let's copy from registry. So now I'm looking for passwords in the registry, and and I tried to find passwords on the disk, and that was not successful. So let's try something else. Let's move to the top, and here we can also have incorrect permissions in services. What is that? So it says You may have a service which is run on behalf of administrator or system, and permissions may not be correct. So it means that developers, when they create this service, they did not configure permissions properly. And so maybe, just maybe, end user has permissions to replace the binary and restart the service, and so the binary will be executed on behalf of system or administrator, depends which account is used by the service. And there's a list of queries are recommended, but I create my own way to try to find the service which may be vulnerable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check if any services not from Microsoft exist, and then I will check all of them manually. Let me just download the script that I create to find out the service not from Microsoft. Let me run the script. Now I can see services from Google, from McAfee. I don't think they are vulnerable. Let's find something else. Look at this. So the last one called Unify Video Service from Ubiquiti Networks. What is interesting about this service? This service has a binary in program data folder. Program data, that's the folder which is writable by end users. And maybe, just maybe, subfolders inherit permissions from program data. Let's take a look. I'm gonna go to see program data. Let me just create new text file. Yeah, I can create, I can remove. Good. Let me go to Unify Video. Let's create a new one here. Yep, it's inherited, and I can remove as well. Maybe, just maybe, I can modify this binary. Let's try. No, unfortunately not. I cannot modify the binary, so I cannot just simply replace that. All right, let's try to gather more information about this service. And here on the website called ExploitDB, or Exploit Database, let's read about this service. And we can see here, yes, permissions are not really correct. So subfolder inherits permissions from parent folder. But there's one more thing. When you start and stop the service, it tries to load and execute the file at C program data unify video taskkill. Wow. However, this file doesn't exist. So it looks like developers, they just forgot to remove some temporary code from the application. And now when the normal application is running, normal application is running, it tries to run taskkill. So if I create my own taskkill in this folder and just start or stop the service, normally regular users, they cannot stop the service, but they may reboot the workstation. I should get I should have the code execution on behalf of local system. Let's try. I'm gonna go to that folder, and now let's download taskkill. And before let me break the shell. Before I stop that or start, let me establish new listener. All right. Now let me stop service. Normally, once again, regular users, they cannot stop or start services. But for the sake of time, for this demo, I delegate only this permission about this service. So this user can start and stop this specific service. Let me stop that. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Yep. Look at this. Who am I? Local system. And now I have a system shell, and I can do whatever I want on this specific workstation. All right. Let me jump back to slide. I can see here the next step will be compromise credentials. So I'm a local admin, and now I can compromise credentials on this specific workstation. And maybe, just maybe, I can find some other credentials in memory and then move on to other machines and do something there. So let's jump back. And now I want to compromise credentials. How can I do that? Let me first tell you about the service. Not the service, but about the process called lsas.exe. So this process used to authenticate users, and after this, after successful authentication, credentials will be cached by this process. So if I dump this process, and I can do it, I can make a dump if I'm an administrator. So if I dump this process, then I can try to find credentials there. Let me just right click, and here's the create dump file. So I can do it from Task Manager, but normally when we run pen test or hackers, they don't have GUI. So they must do the same, but from command prompt. Let's find a way to do it from command prompt. For these purposes, we have a tool called prosdump, a tool from Microsoft, by the way, and this tool may dump any process from command line. Now, what I want to do, I want to download this tool and let me dump lsas process. And look at this. So here is lsas.dmp. Now, lsas.dmp was created. Now, what should I do next? I must open this lsas.dmp. But to open this, I must use a tool called Mimikatz, which may be detected by most antiviruses. So not the best idea to copy Mimikatz to this workstation. But what I can do, I can take this lsas.dmp to my workstation. I can download this to my workstation, upload to my workstation, and open it there where I don't have antivirus, which is under my control. So I can copy this. For the sake of time, I already did that. And here is lsas.dmp. Now, what I can do, I can open Mimikatz. And let me connect Minidump first. And let's take a look on the passwords inside of this dump. Let me scroll all the way up. And now I can see there's a user JDAW. And credentials of JDAW cached in that dump. So NTLM hash is cached. No passwords, but hash is available. That's it. No other users. That's not good, because I will not be able to move on. To move on, I must have some other credentials, but here I have JDAW again. All right. If nothing works, if it doesn't work, what I should do, I should go back to reconnaissance and gather more information. Let's try. I'm gonna go back to demo. And what I want to do now, I want to run another tool called Bloodhound. So what Bloodhound is? Bloodhound, that's the tool that will send the request to my network and query data from Active Directory, and it can learn which user is a member of which group, where administrators exist, on which workstation user is administrator, and so on. So this Bloodhound will gather a lot of information from your Active Directory domain. Now, what I want to do, I want to run Bloodhound from my web server, fingers crossed. And yeah, that was successful. And it will create a number of JSON files. And so, of course, I already pre-create them as well. And so those JSON files then must be uploaded to special graph tool, also called Bloodhound. Let me just take those JSON files and let me open them. That's it. Now, I can go to analysis and say find shortest path to the main admins. And look at this. It shows me all the way, all possible, not all possible, but all known ways to compromise to become the main admins. That's too complicated. Let's try to simplify that. I know I have the owner. I own user Jado. Let me mark this user as owned. And now let me run another query. And let's say I wanna find the path to the main admins from owned principals. Now it's a bit better. Look here. It's a bit better. Now it's quite clear, I would say. Look, so Jada is administrator to W10 help. All right. So on W10 help, there is the session of user M Smith, who is the member of helpdesk group. Helpdesk group has permissions to generic all permissions, and it can control the group called SQL SVC, not group, group SQL SVC, and SQL SVC is the member of the main admins. So that's quite normal that helpdesk can, make some operations with Active Directory objects. So what should I do? Now I should jump to this workstation with W10 help, compromise M Smith there, and on behalf of M Smith, add myself or someone else to SQL SVC. So let's do it. I'm going to jump to Win10 help. Of course, normally this jump will look like PS exec or PowerShell remoting, so we will not use GUI in this case. But because that's demo, and I want to show you how it looks like and give you some details. So in this case, GUI will be better. Now, let me open CMD. Let's see who am I with groups. I can see that this user, who is that? Jada. So this Jada is local administrator, so built-in administrator. At the same time, if I try to do something like this, which is like enumerate the C drive of the main controller, access is denied. So I cannot do it because I'm not a domain administrator, but I'm a local administrator. So that's the first difference. Second one, let me simulate session of msmith. Let me open this as different user and type like msmith and the password. All right, now credentials of msmith in memory. And if I dump lsas again, this time I can do it from GUI. Of course, let me show you another way. How can we do it? Create dump file. So if I dump lsas, credentials of msmith will be there. Now, so let's say we have credentials of msmith. We have username and we have ntlm hash. All right, but can we do anything with this hash? It is not a password. We need a password if we want to do something, but we cannot use hash instead of password normally. So, but what we can do, we can run an attack called pass the hash or overpass the hash, and so that's possible. But the problem is we must use tool like Mimikatz on the victim machine, and it may be a bit complicated, but let's try that first. I'm gonna copy Mimikatz to my victim machine. Let me try to open this. No way. So that was removed by antivirus, and yeah, we just stopped the virus. Thank you, McAfee. All right, let's try something else. I have my own Mimikatz I create myself called Ugly Dogs. Of course, I took the original Mimikatz, modify that, and let me just copy this. paste here. Open as administrator. And let's run pass the hash. Yay, that's now I have pass the hash. I run pass the hash, and now I have msmith credentials now. So now let me jump to the main controller and let me simulate what's called generic all. What generic all means? It means that user has access, full control over this Active Directory account. So let me add help desk and add full control over SQL SVC. Let me click OK. Now let me go back. If I type here netgroup SQL SVC JDA add domain, it should add JDA user to this group. Let me just check it this time. And yeah, JDA now is here. So let me sign out. And sign back in as JDA. Now, this user JDA should have permissions, should have domain admin permission. And if I try to enumerate the C drive for the main controller, I should be successful this time. Let's try that. So let's do it. Yay! This time I was successful. So and that means I became the main admin. And with the main admin credentials, what I can do what's called domain dominance. It means persistence, but with highest privileges. And with this, I can do whatever I want in this company. So I can exfiltrate any data I want. So I'm a god here in this network. All right, so that was an offensive demo. I hope you found some, even if you don't use Defender, Microsoft 365 Defender, you found something that may be used by you. I mean, something that you may fix in your company. But we are not finished here. I have a few minutes for defense. And let's start to protect our company from those type of attacks. So first, I want to protect my users from those kind of email attacks, like when someone sends a phishing email with, unsafe attachment. Not the best attachment, not the safest attachment. And what will happen if we send that to Office 365? So there's a feature called Safe Attachments. In this case, attachment will run in the special sandbox in the cloud, and the sandbox will analyze the behavior of this attachment. So what this attachment will do, what will happen with Workstation after it was opened. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to jump back to demo, and let me log into a mailbox I'm gonna use to send the phishing email. Now, let me send the email to special mailbox. Copy this text. All right, so now what I want to also do, I want to drag this attachment. So let's think about one moment. Let me send that first. So let's think about that. If we send a payload with attachment that gives me a shell, what if Sandbox will try to open this attachment? Maybe, just maybe, I can get a shell and see what this Sandbox is all about. Let's see. So we have this email, and it says a scan in progress. So it's trying to analyze, so it's trying to run this attachment in the sandbox and understand what this attachment is all about, what is the behavior. But maybe, just maybe, I will get a shell, or at least I will have some pin from Microsoft to my command and control center, because it tries to open every attachment and analyze the behavior. And so this attachment also should be opened. Fingers crossed. Hey, look at this. So I have a shell. Let me show you where there are some interesting information. All right, and let's type dir. And also what I want to do, I want to dir d dollar. Not found. No way. So let's say dir here. All right, let's say tools. Now it's better. So that's it. I can break it. Now I can see that this sandbox is nothing else than Windows 10 machine, and so this save today was found in Outlook cache. So in the user folder, Outlook cache, my save today file was there. What does it mean? Probably it means that there is a simulated user that opens attachments in Outlook. So they really try to simulate a normal user. And so this user, the fake user, of course, opens my attachment. So after attachment was opened, number of tools start to analyze what's going on, what will happen. Those tools on the D drive, but currently there is no access to it, so I cannot just show you all of those tools. But there is here's access denied. So there's a folder called D tools, and I don't have permissions to see that. But if I try to go there, it tells me that there's a folder with tools. So those tools will analyze what's going on. Let me show you how it may be configured, where and how it may be configured. I'm gonna go to Microsoft Security Center, Microsoft 365 Security Center. And here under email collaboration, I can find policies and rules. All right, so I'm going to thread policies, and here is safe attachments. So here you can configure the policy, and you can say if you want to block attachments, unsafe attachments, or just monitor this or monitor that, or you want to block the whole email with attachment. It's attachment and message body. So you have options there. So that's how can I block those unsafe attachments. All right, and the next piece that will be very, very, very cool, called Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which is also part of our Microsoft 365 Defender suite. So Defender for Endpoint, that's the component that will monitor what's going on the workstation. So which is called EDR. So it will send the data to the cloud and analyze there what's going on the workstation. And in my case, Defender for Endpoint work in detection mode, but there is also prevention mode. So if I enable prevention mode, it will block my attack pretty quickly, and I will not be able to show you demo. That's why it's in detection mode. But once again, there is a prevention mode as well, if you wish. All right, let me show you this. I'm gonna jump back to the portal, and if I go to incidents, let's click incident. And it says, hey, there is a multi-stage incident involving initial access, blah, blah, blah. Let me open this. And look at this. Because we run different commands quite quick. sometimes it may not show me the correct the correct sequence. But let me try to find where our attack was started. It should be somewhere here. Oh no, July. What date is it? Oh, so it should be here. All right, should be. Let me just sort by last activity. Alerts. That's better. Should be better. All right. So first, it detects when PowerShell made a suspicious network connection, and program that includes reverse shell was detected, and then Office, Excel, all of those things did something wrong. Next one. so we get a shell. After this, we start our enumeration, reconnaissance. So I check the group membership, who is admin where. So that was detected here, and there's a number of things that detected. Then I start to look for passwords in files and registry. So that was detected. After this, I escalate privileges. That was not detected here because that's my custom. Not really custom. Not the problem. Not only the problem custom, but it was more or less legit. We just stopped the service and start the service. Nothing bad was what happened. But there's also a section called vulnerability management, where information about this Unify video service will appear here. So it will tell me that this service is vulnerable, so please update this service. Now, after I got the local admin, I dump LSAS, so I got credentials from memory. And look at this. It says Mimikatz tool was detected. Let me open this. And look at this. So it says ugly dogs is Mimikatz. So I evade antivirus protection with my ugly dogs, but Defender for Endpoint, which is part of Microsoft 365 Defender, knows that is Mimikatz. So as you can see here, almost everything was detected. So if you have this suite that I showed you before, feel free to use that. If not, at least you may try to fix some of those. Now you know what possible problems. Not all the problems, of course, but some of them, and you may fix them before someone exploits them.